Hello, everybody. My name is Drew Dosek, and welcome to Trading the Close. Today, we had some great tariff news out of Japan. Stocks ripped higher in the morning and actually started pushing up on the day. And then we also had good news come out of the European Union, and the European Union potentially has a tariff deal in the works for 15% tariffs there as well. So investors are rejoicing. This tariff news is finally coming to an end with somewhat of a good picture. Plus, we've got earnings. We've got earnings coming up today with Google and Tesla after hours. Then tomorrow morning, we have American Airlines and Southwest Airlines. Followed in the afternoon, we've got Intel as well as Newmont Mining. So a lot of stuff to go over. We went over the Google chart the other day, but we're going to get into some charts today that reacted off of earnings. But first, let's get into the market summary board. Into that we go. We have Dow Jones up now 1.02%, NASDAQ up 0.45%, S&P 500 up 0.73%, U.S. oil up 0.09%, basically flat on the day. Gold retreating a lot of its gains from yesterday, down 1.2%, and Bitcoin now down 1.32%. So let's jump into the S&P 500 heat map. We see here we've got NVIDIA pushing up nicely, AVGO up 1.68%. Google has retreated ever so slightly going into earnings. We'll see if that is foreshadowing a move or not. We have Meta here up 1.15%, Oracle up 1.55%, and Palantir marching right back up on the charts, up 3.67%. Aside from that, a lot of green on the screen here, except for in the utility sector, but a lot of stocks moving up off of that good tariff news. And plus, regardless of really if it's going to work out to be good or not, it's certainty, and investors like certainty. They hate uncertainty, and so now we have that clarity, so the stocks are pushing up. As you see here, new all-time highs, brand new all-time high close coming in as well. So where does this take us on the spiders? Likely next resistance. Notice if I extend this trend line out, how it all coincides right here with the bottom end of this parallel channel, right at 6,400. That's the next target, only 46 points away on the S&P 500 here on the SPX. Next up, we've got the Qs. Qs are still trapped and squeezed in this in between both of these trend lines right here. Now we're starting to put in bullish consolidation over the previous 4 days of trading. Usually bullish consolidation at the top of charts fails. Let's see if we do get a blow off top and then a reversal coming back down. Major support still down here, 523.42. Next up, SMH. Now, SMH is still trading towards the bottom half of yesterday's trading action. Again, I brought this up to you guys the other day. I said, guys, follow the SMH. The SMH, the semis lead the way. So it's important to know what's going on with the semis so we can anticipate movements for the rest of the markets. Now, the semis aren't pushing up to new all-time highs like the S&P 500. That's telling me something. Now, we could lag here in the semis for a moment, but what it's telling me is the likelihood S&P 500 will start following where the semis are going. All right, so back into the charts here. The SMH, next area of resistance, should we push higher, is going to be the bottom end of this parallel channel right at 290. Major support down here, 258.03. Next up, IWM had a great day, much like the S&P 500. However, we're not near all-time highs, but we did break out of this consolidation area. We'll see if we get a confirming move tomorrow, but if we do, we likely are going to be butting up right against resistance here at 229.30. Beautiful move here on IWM. A lot of small cap stocks really have been pumping over the previous few days, especially some junk plays too, whether D-Nut really popped today and then it just really retreated too. It had a big pop at the open and then basically sell off all day long, much like what's going on with KSS and Kohl's. Those charts are actually really interesting and a bit ridiculous too. Now here, Bitcoin, we did highlight, we've got a daily topping tail here on the chart of Bitcoin, but we've now just been consolidating sideways, folks. We haven't breached the top of this topping tail, but all in all, this consolidation is somewhat bullish. But again, it's at the top of the charts. Bullish consolidation at the top of the charts usually fails. Still looking for Bitcoin to come down here, tag this resistance trend line right at the $113,000 mark. Next up, we've got gold. Now, gold, this is very important to understand. Right now, what's going on is Mercury retrograde. During Mercury retrograde, there's usually communication issues, which causes slight uncertainty, which also attracts investors into gold. So gold popped up the last 2 days, but since retreated. And also what happens during Mercury retrograde, we have a lot of whippy price action, and we've seen that on a lot of charts in the last previous days. So we'll get into a couple of those later, but basically it's highlighted right here on the gold chart that you see. We have gold that ran up and now has since gotten rejected from this resistance area of the trend line. So not much new to report as far as projections. We'll just see if the price action comes back down. If so, support down here on the bottom end of this wedge right at 32.86. But ultimately, no confirming move above this declining trend line today. Next up, silver. Now, silver, look at this, guys. Silver still continues to have momentum. The pullback down that we experienced didn't even come close to the first support level and has since gone right back up on the charts. But notice where it's pausing and is putting in a doji candle today. It's right on an inclining trend line. So right here, you can see too on the bottom of the screen, we're overbought on the RSI. If I flip to the weekly, we're just barely poking up to being overbought. So that tells me there is an outside chance that silver could continue higher. And if that does happen, the next resistance area and target is going to be $41.66. Keep in mind, we're towards the end of the run here. I would not be getting into a play right here for this gain and last little bit of a push. I still would be sitting on the sidelines waiting for a pullback in order to get into silver. Notice I've got this trend line drawn right here. It's almost like I have a parallel channel going on with silver. These would be the areas to buy all along this inclining trend line, currently right around $33.38 on the chart. Next up, U.S. oil. U.S. oil continues to slowly drift down, but notice we're starting to generate some decently sized wicks down here at the bottom of each one of the days. So any selling pressure on oil, investors are buying it right back up. Now, keep in mind, this is still a bear flag formation. I'm still anticipating price on U.S. oil to come down here to this trend line, roughly now about $60.30. We'll see if this bear flag plays out, but that's at least what the chart is showing me for now. Next up, nat gas. Now, nat gas did pierce this $3.13 support area, so I have since taken that area off. Next area of support is going to be down here, basically at $3 flat. Now, notice too, this is going to be the next area, but the following area of support is quite a bit lower than $3, 45 cents lower at $2.55. So keep in mind, nat gas could still see selling pressure. So it's really critical what goes on right here on the charts, right at the $3 area. If nat gas is saved at that area, a bounce up will at least take it to this inclining trend line at $3.20. So about an 8% pop that likely will happen if we do catch support at that $3 level. Next up, the 10-year yield did poke up ever so slightly today. Not too much new to report here, except for I'm still eyeing the potential of this being a larger inverse head and shoulders pattern, waiting on this right shoulder to form. Today, it's making a step in that direction. We'll see if tomorrow it follows up and marches up towards this trend line, which then could potentially trigger, if we break out, a pretty decent move up here near the 4.75 to 4.8 range on the 10-year chart. Next up, we've got Texas Instruments. Now, they did report earnings today. Check this out. They had a nice beat on EPS by 3.94% and revenue by 1.91%. But look, down 13% on the day, closing right here near this inclining trend line. Great fall here on TXN, and it was because they had weakened guidance. Guys, I've been talking about this too. This is this quarter's big story. We may have earnings beats, but we're having weakened guidance or almost no guidance by some companies, which is really fearing or causing fear in investors. Again, back to the theme here. What do investors like? We like certainty. If companies are slashing guidance, they're not giving us certainty. Matter of fact, they're creating uncertainty for what's going to happen. So that makes investors hit that sell button, much like what we see here on the chart. So back into Texas Instruments, notice where price stopped falling today, almost on the exact penny. You can zoom in here on the 1-minute chart, and actually it did. I was looking at it earlier here and missed it by just a couple pennies, but we see here today we actually pierced back down underneath this 185.50 level and have since bounced up on the chart. Back into the daily time frame, you can see this trend line was originating back here February 12th of 2024, strung over to the next major pivot of April 19th, 2024. And you just string that all the way out on the chart. And that's exactly where price came into today. Beautiful fall on TXN. If we do have continued selling pressure, considering this is a big, steep fall for this company, the next area of support is going to be right through this trend line at 180 and 82 cents. This area, as far as this inclining trend line where price is currently, as well as this support, could generate a technical bounce up here close to the $200 level, which is at resistance at 199.32. Next up, we've got Fiserve. Now, Fiserve also did report earnings, and again, double beat EPS by 1.44% and revenue slightly by 0.04%. Regardless, they beat on revenue and beat on earnings, so the stock should be ripping, right? Nope, down 13.85% because of slight adjustments to guidance. Now, this is ever so slightly too, because mainly they held about the same guidance. They just mentioned slightly reduction of guidance that still was within the range of a lot of estimates, yet the stock continues to sell off and sold off significantly today. But notice the bounce, incredible bounce on this, very different style of chart than TXN. Notice price closed down here at the bottom of the candle today, likely insinuating we may see a little bit more downside to that 180.82 level. Now here on Fiserve, we're not at the lows, we're finishing at the highs of the day. Beautiful bounce up off of the steep decline that you're seeing here. We have an inclining trend line that actually provided the support. Even though we pierced this level, notice where the very bottom of this pierce went, right over here to this pivot high on the chart. So this pivot, as well as this inclining trend line, really caught price, providing that safety net, bouncing the stock price back up. First area of resistance is going to be right here. All this consolidation at $146.73. Should we continue pushing up? Expect some pausing or maybe consolidating at that time, maybe even retracing this trend line before it tries to continue to push up higher. Next area of resistance past this first area is at 159.39, which would likely coincide with this declining trend line that we see here on the charts. Next up, we've got HIMS. Look at this big push on HIMS today. No earnings report for it just quite yet. Earnings for HIMS comes up on August 4th, but we had a nice move, 16.02% pump higher on the stock today. Notice we've got a declining trend line that so far has caught price. Now, notice it's hit once, twice, 3, 4 times. This would be the 5th attempt at going above this declining trend line, which means that this declining trend line is weaker and can get breached, and also price can stay above that area. However, notice we've got resistance just right above this declining trend line. So if price does get up there, notice it could possibly pause, consolidate before continuing up higher to the next resistance level. 64.35 and 61.70 are the areas of resistance I'm watching above this declining trend line. Above tomorrow's price, the trend line is currently at $60.20. So watch all 3 of those levels closely if you are bull on HIMS for a potential breakout above this declining trend line. That would be a great move there on that chart. Next up, we've got Ripple, XRP. I did want to bring this up. Notice the steep fall that we're seeing today, barreling through this first support. We did actually get a couple bounces and attempts to almost recapture this $3.25 area on the chart, but it has since now pierced and gone right back through. The next area of support is going to be right here on this inclining trend line, right around $2.73 to $2.77. Right here in that range is going to be very good support on XRP. This is a great buying opportunity. Any price action coming back down, remember, we've had a huge breakout here. We've had this declining trend line for quite some time on XRP. We confirmed that move. Not only did we do that, we broke through another area of resistance, pushed all the way higher, hitting this measured move off of basically one continuous move up. Fantastic move here on XRP. But what happens on stock charts or crypto charts when price action rapidly increases? We're going to see a rapid decrease afterwards. Don't get FOMO and buy up in here. Start buying smart. Buy when we hit support, buy when we hit the next support, buy when we hit the next support, and then buy when we hit the next support. That should bring the average under $3 for XRP for continued move higher, as I do feel XRP. Look at this, guys. If we do start marching up higher, this trend line is going to show the longer term potential target for XRP. This trend line today above today's current price is at $5.45. Now, if price, and it doesn't look like it's going to start marching up anytime soon, we're likely going down in the near to midterm. But once price does start bouncing and going higher, that probably is going to be over here in this range, which could take price on XRP all the way up plus $6. So get your opportunity to buy some of these retraces. This is the time that Ripple is giving you this opportunity to start stacking up your own position, creating for a continued bounce move once we hit technical support. Next up, we've got GE Vernova. Guys, this stock has just been ripping, mainly off of all the demand for the brand new AI data centers, right? So GE has been providing all of the electrical supplies to build out these data centers. So they've secured a number of contracts. Thus, look at this price on the stock. Incredible move up higher on the charts. Notice today's price action broke above this inclining trend line, much like a blow off top. Yesterday, we were actually selling off here. We had price all the way down here to 538.16. Today, we're trading up here at $630. Incredible move up on GEV. I think this is closer towards the end and could start turning over a little bit sooner rather than later. This could be our last momentum push. If we do continue to push higher, the next resistance you see created by this inclining trend line is right around the $700 area. We had a nice $100 pop today, and we could certainly have a very similar pop tomorrow and tag this resistance area. Keep that on the radar as GEV is getting completely extended. Look at this weekly chart, folks. You see this here all the way up to 82.16 on the RSI. Guys, this is not screaming buy. This is screaming short to me on the charts. This is pretty dangerous if you're entering up here for a long. Be ready to be a bag holder for quite a while. Next up, we've got Netflix. Now, Netflix did defy gravity on this march up, but now finally we're trading back, confirming within this parallel. Beautiful sell here on Netflix. Now, we will catch some minor support right here in this range, basically around 1150 on the chart. That will be the area I'm watching to see if we actually get some sort of stabilization, potentially a small bounce, maybe a retrace up to this top end of the parallel channel at $1,220. But the likelihood Netflix is still coming down is actually higher with this sort of move. We now have support that I'm targeting at $11.23 and 29 cents. Last up, we covered GM yesterday, but I wanted to touch base on it again today. Guys, look at this recovery. Unbelievable bounce from this huge selling pressure off of earnings. Now, earnings, just to remind you, in case you didn't see it yesterday, a double beat, but weakened guidance because they did take a big hit absorbing these additional tariff costs for parts manufactured outside of the United States. But today, investors forgot about that and bought GM, ripped it back up. Notice this wedge pattern on the chart. This wedge pattern so far, notice the hit. 1, 2, third hit pierced. The third hit saved the day, guys. Remember this, take notes, because this happens over and over and over again on these charts. But by the way, anyway, it's a beautiful move, 8.67%. Next area of resistance is going to be right here at this declining trend line, $54.15. All right, guys, that wraps up trading the close. If you guys, as a reminder too, you want to learn how to draw these trend lines, you want to be able to find these levels of support, I created an educational course that will guide you along the way. Mastering the overnight trade, the sleeper hold, will teach you everything that I find in these charts, plus give you trade setups. So who doesn't like that? Again, thanks for watching Trading the Close. I'll see you on the charts next time. Until then, you guys have a great day.